Welcome to Ravenland. For 10 human generations, the blood mist, a red and ravenous haze that rose from the ground at night, devoured travelers. Few dared to venture outside after nightfall, and fewer still know for sure what lies beyond the horizon. The demonic mist that covered the lands for 3 centuries, draining the life out of anyone who dared wander too far from their village, has suddenly and inexplicably lifted. Restless souls are finally free to leave their homes and travel far and wide in the forbidden lands, looking for treasure and adventure. The brave sharpen their blades and prepare to leave. They cannot bear the oppressive weight of their homes and hearts any longer. Adventurers, treasure hunters, scoundrels, not heroes, far from it, but men and women who dare travel the land as they choose and make their mark on it, unbound by any fate or story set for them. They hunt for ancient treasures. They fight whomever gets in their way. They build a new world for themselves on the ruins of the old. They are the raiders of Ravenland, the Forbidden Lands.
Howdy, friends and floor heads. Oh, Kokom Joe, thanks for the bits. All right, so episode 9 in the pre-chat in the starting screen, people were like, we need a TPK. We got too many episodes. We haven't had any death. Is this really Forbidden Lands? What the hell's going on right now? So obviously we can't recap all 8 previous episodes, but let's quickly talk about where we are right now. We have just gotten to Amber's Peak. It was a bit of a journey, a long journey, a new companion for all 4 of you, but especially Sten, Vivinan, who we've now affectionately called Vivi, was rescued by the 4 of you and told you this is where she lives and has been living. And when we got to Amber's Peak, we came at the foot of the mountains where there was this castle that was kind of embedded with the mountains, and surrounding it were this huge tent village. When we come in there, Vivi explains this is where she lived. We find out that these are called the Quards, which are apparently descendants of the Asleen, which come from the far west. She brings you to the biggest tent in that little village area where her mother, Meridia, lives. And we closed with Meridia thanking the 4 of you for finding her daughter and bringing her home. So that's kind of where we're going to get started. We do a little bit of a couple montage cutscenes of, shaking hands, being introduced, really a bit of a hero's welcome for the 4 of you, which not only is unique for the last week and a half, but really unique for your entire life. Before you guys ventured and left your village, it was just a grind, generations of just living in the same village and existing. And now you've had, without a doubt, the most exciting 10 days or so of not only your life, but anybody's life. Just yesterday, you killed a demon. And thanks for the sub, Nocturnal. And I think that is really where the hype is going. So let's go ahead and fade in from the montage with all of you sitting on pillows in a circle with a lot of the Quard people, both Meridia, of course. Next to her is her daughter, Vivi, who's just got the biggest smile on her face. Next to her is her brother, who you were introduced to, who's a little bit older than Vivi. He seems to be about 15 or 16 years old. A lanky kid, a little bit awkward, but you can tell, every once in a while you'll see a teenager and you go, you're awkward as hell right now, but you're going to be a very handsome man when you grow up. And you can tell that he is on the brink of manhood. Not quite as affectionate and effusive as his little sister. But that's Oamor is how you were introduced to him. And then there was several different people within her court. Another one that was a bit of an oddball that you were introduced to was Pelokus, which Vivi mentioned as being a priest of Horn. And he is an advisor and was introduced as an advisor to Meridia. So you're all sitting cross-legged on these pillows. In the center is just all of this food. And boy, does it taste good.
Oh, good.
It's like cooked, and it's cuisine and spices you've never had before. Everybody's eating with kind of this really non-leavened but spongy bread, and that's what they're using to pick up the food and eat with. And everybody, it's very much a community meal, right? But where just food is passed around, and just you have tiny little plates in there. You put the food on the plates, and the questions they asked, I want to, you guys want to learn so much, but Meridia wants to understand you first. So Meridia says, Vivi says that you're demon killers, that you're great warriors. I come from a clan of great warriors. I want to hear the tales. I want to know where you're from.
I mean, I'm certainly not a great warrior, but honestly, if somebody's gonna be telling the tale, and he sort of, you can tell he thinks it's a bad idea as the words are coming out of his mouth, but he says that's probably Vasila's area of specialty.
I can tell the tale.
And is this your daughter?
I'm not a daughter.
No. She's a
So,
half-
child, tell me the tales.
little person.
I'm not a child, ma'am. Have you never seen my race?
And then you see Vivi go up in the thing, and she goes, "Oh, I did not realize that halflings actually existed."
I stand up and I take a big bow.
Are you an adult?
I mean, certainly.
Of a
And
sort, for sure.
There's a lot of like people are like very fascinated by you, Vasilla.
And Vivi's
I'll
like,
drink-
she's also a cheater face.
Aldrich jumps in with a mouthful of food because he's into the food. Like this is exciting for him. Like there's so much new flavor to glean here, but he's just like, she's a young adult.
I'm gonna grab my lyre out of my pack, and I'm gonna take a walk around the circle as they're eating, and sing a tale of my own design about our recent adventures. And I'm going to make sure I kick Sten every time I walk by him by accident. And I'm gonna spruce it up, and Osric the Demon Killer will be mentioned with his mighty sword arm and his strength of faith and the goodness of his heart. Didn't quail before the terror that was the Snake Man. I'll lay off on describing how our cousin got mutilated and murdered.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll skip that part.
So as Vasilla's as you're singing that part, Vasilla, what's very fascinating is, of course, Vivi, do me a favor, Dave, should slide to your left a little bit. There you go. Vivi is like glued, right, to the Song of Sten. And you can see her like trying to learn the words. Like she's really into it. So as you finish the Song of Sten, what's next?
It's the song of Osric. Sten is like barely a bit.
Also there.
moved
Sten
on
is
from
the fatty bulger of this story.
Yeah, he quailed in the corner and hid as brave Sir Osric faced down the horror of the gap-mouthed snake demon.
You have to remember the earlier parts of the tale were Sten the Merciless. You have to remember all of those parts too.
I mean, I didn't know.
She's moved on. She's moved on from Sten. He's not interesting anymore.
You can see that as you start getting into that stuff, Sten starts enjoying this process less and less. And it seems like he's getting genuinely annoyed.
And I'll stop in front of Vivi while she's singing, and I'll do the chorus again, like straight to her, like.
So by the end of this, as Vasilla plays probably 5-10 minutes longer than she should have, she extended things a little bit long, but the crowd is amazed. The only person that seems not completely enraptured by this performance, and Vasilla, I think you're so focused on the crowd and focused on the circle and doing what you love to do more than anything, which is perform. I think maybe either Sten or Osric notices middle-aged gentleman that's kind of in the back and just doesn't seem very happy. about this performance. And at first, I think it might concern Osric and Sten, and kind of keep a left eye on this guy until you see he's got a 6-string guitar type thing next to him, and he does not seem happy about
Rivalry.
the incredible reception of Vasilla. So Meridia says, we are a clan of warriors, and not only did you save my daughter, but obviously you are great men and women, and none of us have heard tales of those that have killed demons. But I'm sure you have questions for us. Nah, I'm good.
So, I was just wondering, it's a cool castle you have over there. We've seen one castle, and that's the second one ever. Can you, like, is it yours? Is it like the god Horn?
No,
Which would be silly because it's made of stone, but it could be.
no. That's the castle of Zertorm. Zertorm, before the mist, invited us, the Quards here. Also invited the Galdanes, who are in the camp on the opposite side. Both Asleen. I don't know why the Galdanes were invited. They are inferior. And for the entire time of the Blood Mist, he kept us safe. And we have lived here in Amber's Peak for generations now. He is a great man.
So he's still alive then after
He
all
is.
those
He is.
years?
He is ageless. He's the son of the great Zygofer, who you may have heard of, the great champion who banished and saved us from the demon incursions here in Ravensland. And he has one goal, and that is to raise an army. And we're part of that army. And that goal is to finally do the work his father never could finish, and killed the Zytera. He knows that Zytera is the source of the demon incursion. And when we are ready, when he's gathered enough, and you are welcome to join, we will destroy Zytera. And now that the mist is gone, we could begin to live again.
Have we heard that name, Zytera, before?
You have not.
Nope.
You've heard Zygofer. Dalb, the minstrel, mentioned Zygofer, also spoken of as a great man. This is the first time, though, that he's been spoken of as no longer being with us. I don't think Dalb mentioned that. And there was no mention of Zertorm, the son. So this is new information as well.
So when she was speaking, is she speaking fondly? Is she speaking reverently?
Not in kind of a worship way, right? So I don't think she sees him. You don't get a sense that she worships this man. I think that there's probably more than anything gratitude. I think that you get a sense, in the conversations, the way she speaks about him, that he is the reason that her clan has survived, and survived the Blood Mist. And she seems pretty committed to, fighting this battle for him. But the kind of the tone and the side comments, Vasilla, definitely give you a feeling that she just wants to be in an army, right? That this is what the Quards do. The Quards are great warriors and champions. So it may not be that she's solely, a zealot for this, that it's very possible that she would be doing it for anything.
Right. So she wants to prove her mettle, right? Because
I
they've
think so.
not fought anything
Yeah.
in quite a while.
Yep.
So I'm assuming that as part of Vasilla's song, she mentioned that these people were sort of at least affiliated with the Rust Brothers. Was there a sense when or did you not?
Yeah, I feel like the Rust Brothers would be a theme that I'd put in there.
So was there like a reaction when that name came up?
when when the
during the song
during the song,
when she
no,
talked about the Rust Brothers? Okay.
there was not. You're welcome to ask her about the Rust Brothers, but no, there you didn't notice a reaction when
It's
there's
not like everybody went hiss or yay or
No.
anything like that. Okay. So, what's the? Do you know how big of an army he's trying to raise this Zertorm? How close you are to going to war?
So she turns to this Palakis, and just as a reminder, Meridia, she's about 6'1", just this beautiful chiseled face, kind of a bronze skin. For those that would find it, she's incredibly attractive, but also not somebody you want to cross. You can tell that, you can see the muscle in her arms, and just the way the way, and Osric, the way she sits is you can tell she can take care of herself. That is in direct contrast to her Palakis, who's introduced as a Quard priest of Horn. He is a tiny man. If he is 5'1", he is 6 foot, and he's very thin, wears an ill-fitted helmet, and you can tell is really trying to grow facial hair, despite the fact that he's probably in his late 40s. Doesn't seem to quite be able to do it. So she turns to this Palakis and she says, "Palakis," she goes, you are also close with Zertom. Has Zertom talked about when we're ready?" "Oh, great Meridia. Great Meridia. We will know. He will know when we're ready. So no, we could not know this. We follow and we listen to the great Zertom. He is a scion of Horn, and he will lead us, and he will know when the time is the time." And she kind of turns back to you after that speech, and I think only Vasila catches this, but she may have rolled her eyes a little bit.
Would it be possible to speak with Zertorm?
"Oh, no. I every week I go, and of course I will tell him of your arrival. I'm going there tomorrow, and I will tell him of the great demon killers. I would expect he may wish to make an offer for you to join the armies."
Understood.
But
But
no
we
no
can't
no
speak
one but
directly.
myself goes to the castle.
No one but yourself.
Do the Galdanes have a priest like you then, Palakis? Is his name Galakis?
So there's kind of an awkward silence.
There's a lot of them.
Oh no.
They claim that Scalia is a priestess of Horn, but she's a false priestess. She knows nothing of Horn, and they're dirty Galdeans. They know nothing. So no, there is no equivalent to me in Galdeans, and there's no equivalent of any Quards in that camp.
But you're both part of the same army, yes?
That is
You're obviously the superior part.
Of
here.
course, but Zatom is wiser than us. He knows something we don't. Maybe, and then as he kind of stutters, one of the larger men that are also there sits and goes, "Maybe he'll put them first. Soften up the demons."
Makes sense.
Do I know anything about Galdanes?
You don't. So you all four know of the Asleen. They were legendary riders that are of mystical lands to the west, and I think that the tales that you do know. There's no rolls needed for this. The tales that you do know is that something happened over there, and there was a bit of a influx of them. But they were pretty much accepted, right? They kept to themselves. They were nomadic, pretty much. They were, obviously respected as great riders and great warriors. And they sacrificed a lot in the Great Demon Wars before the before the fall of the mist. That's what legend has. It is a bit surprising, I think, that they're real, right? Because you never know what's legend, what's not, and that they survived. Because they're, you obviously after 300 years and 5-6 generations, there's no guarantee of that.
So I've heard many tale of the exploits of your people. Is it true that one of your great kings rode a dragon into war with the demons?
So they kind of look over there, and he goes, "Where did you hear this?" Palaka says.
Oh, it's just a tale. I mean, it's handed down from generation to generation to generation through the blood mists. I mean, from before the blood mists.
So he's looking at you very, very suspiciously.
For that matter, so is Sten.
Just for my edification, is that something that we heard from Dolb, or is that something that you're just like winging in here?
I mean, I don't know what you heard from Dolb. I wasn't here. Pave was not here, so
Cool.
I don't even know if there's dragons in this setting. I don't know.
Cool.
I wish you to know there was no dragon riders among us, but it is interesting you brought up dragons. And I want to understand why. And have you been to Amber's Peak before?
No, I've never been to Amber's Peak, and dragons are cool. They're giant flying lizards that do stuff, and who doesn't want to fly? That's
As
amazing.
Point of reference, not every tale she tells is true or even close to true in many cases.
Yeah, I say Sten's good sometimes. I gotta be a liar.
On the other hand, dragons are pretty cool.
So Palakas is a bit struck in silence. His demeanor changes a little bit, and something Vasila said did not make him happy. And that's pretty obvious. So it's something Vasila is very used to doing, but
Hey, sometimes you gotta shake the tree and see what the facts fall out, you know?
Yep.
So if your army is not ready yet, I mean, are you just sort of drilling and training? How do you fill your days?
for generations. Oh, wrong voice. For generations, yes, that's what we have done. We have kept our ways. We have trained. We have kept peace here in Amber's Peak, both with the village and making sure that the village is not incurred by the Galdines.
So there's a village up by the castle then?
So, and then you noticed this, and if you guys look at the map here, let me zoom out for those people watching. So, if you look in kind of the upper left-hand part, you can see where you guys are in these tents that are in the foothills, kind of in the northeast, if we consider, north is north here, which it really isn't, but you know what I'm saying, right? Then just south of that are these farmlands, which you're only seeing one real farm there. That is that extended for miles of farmlands that you walked past on your way in here, on the road that's just north of that little farm that's shown there. And then you notice the village that's right on the river, right? So just to the east of where you are. And
okay. Yeah, those I thought those were tents.
And
at
those,
first,
those are buildings, right. And you did see the other tents to the south. They were of a different style tent, but you didn't get a clear sense of, those were a good bit away, several hundred yards away as you were coming in. But now here discussing it, it's would assume that that's where the Galdines are.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, one of the things we've been trying to do since we left our home is find some maps of the area around here, and so if you obviously you know much more about this area than we do, so anything you could share or let us have a look at would be much appreciated.
Of course, we've had some exploring done, and I'm sure some maps have been drawn up. So yes, I'd be happy. I will get you with a stenographer and one of our cartographers, and yes, that might have to wait a day or two as we gather that, of course. But
thank you.
we are preparing 4 tents, which you deserve. And at any point, you're welcome here at the camp. I'm sure the village at any point would be welcoming to you. Just be wary. They will until word spreads of your great deeds. They tend to be not very welcoming of outsiders. And then, of course, when you get to the dirty animal hide tents of the Galdines, that just know that you will be infected with the insects that crawl all over their body and in their hair, and their food is rotten as they eat it, and
We don't.
their water smells of urine.
Oh,
Stan will fit right in.
One thing I was going to ask about is if the young man, Vivian's cousin, I think it was, who didn't make it back, does he have family here? I think, I think perhaps Vasilla should talk to them.
Yes, that was my sister's son. Yes,
Oh.
and they are in mourning. Now that they know what happened to my nephew, per tradition, they will be in their tent for a week. But I'm sure that they would love to hear and to meet you after that. Of course.
Yeah, I'm sorry we couldn't get them both back.
She's had a hard life. She lost her husband to the hunt, and now to lose her son. I know he was she was not blessed like me. She was an only child. But she also does not have the status that I do, so does not have the luxury of having the stable of men to bring her children.
Sten just kind of blinks a few times and doesn't say anything.
if you do see your sister during that mourning period, pass along our dearest condolences. It was regrettable.
That is very kind of you, but nobody will see her. Not for 7 days. But
Understood.
Yes, I will pass that along. Is everybody fed? Is everybody?
Oof. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Did
Thank you
anybody
very much.
partake of the wine out of curiosity? Who stuck to water? Who stuck to wine?
Wine.
I
Aldrich
mean,
wine,
gotta have at
Priscilla
least a
wine.
glass.
Sten would have had some wine. Yeah.
Okay. So definitely Vasilla and Aldrich have got a little case of the spinnies, because this is not only good wine but potent wine. It would be fair to say that it's possible the Quards have a much higher tolerance than those of you from Oaken Heart. Meridia makes it clear that at any time will have somebody escort you to each of your own individual tents. And she has made it very clear that her camp is your camp, and that your needs are only a request away from being fulfilled. Is there anything that we'd like to do before we close out the day? Obviously, no rolls for water and food. You guys are all more than set there. And she also makes it clear that if you don't stay, she of course will provision you so that you can continue your crusade to rid Ravensland of the demons.
Awesome.
Sure.
So anything you want to do before night?
It's been a long slog through a very messy swampland.
Yeah, I'm
I
happy
think
to
so.
try and get some washing and some sleep.
I think I would approach Meridia and just kind of quietly, just to avoid too many prying ears. Do any of your number practice the arcane arts?
So Vivi's there, and she pushes her mom. She goes, "I told you She
I've been
goes,
outed.
yeah, she goes, of course, Palakis knows the arcane. But yes, we have a small group of the arcane that if you are also practicing, I'm sure they wish to share knowledge with you. So by all means, that is something that we can do in the coming days.
Sounds good. I would greatly appreciate an introduction.
The only other big moment happens, and of course, there's more moments that can happen depending on what you guys need. But the one other moment that happens is at some point when Sten is somewhat isolated, Vivi brings her brother over and makes a pretty big production of introducing you, Sten, to Oamor. And you can tell, Sten, that she has a great love and admiration for her brother. And he's a quiet boy. He's very respectful and was, thanked you profusely for saving his sister. But like I mentioned, no, far more introverted than his little sister. So that's one moment that I think happens during all of this.
Yeah,
and specifically with you, Sten.
Yeah, and Sten would certainly, sort of greet him, with the respect he would give an adult.
Oh, nice.
He's not gonna treat him. Obviously, Sten's much older, but still, good to meet you, lad. It's you've got a very strong and brave sister here, and I imagine judging from your mother, it seems to run in the family. So I imagine you'll be a formidable warrior in your own right.
So Vivi explains. She goes, his father is a great warrior. My father was a hunter like you.
Ah, well, no wonder you have the instincts.
And then she launches in to the fox story, right? And hunting the fox. And the whole time she's telling it, Oramor is just like, I know. You told me that part already. Yes, I know. And they kind of stroll off, and just Vivi's just like, and the fox had teeth, and
instead just shakes his head and curls up in a blanket and is probably immediately asleep.
So, ready for bed, right? So each of you are escorted to your own tents, and each of these tents is larger than your homes in Oakenheart, and they are just lavish inside with silks and pillows. There's all kinds of perfumes that have been laid out for you on the tables. Of course, wine in large jugs. The guard explains that he will be outside for each of you. And if you need anything, just raise word and he will come in to help you. He asks everybody but Vasila. He has a different conversation with Vasila, but each of you are asked if you would wish companionship.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
But the one that escorts Vasila gets down on one knee and says, "Is it true you are an adult?"
Yeah. I've been an adult for at least, I don't know, a couple of years.
So do you wish to choose between 2, 3, 4 men for this evening?
No, you're fine.
Do you wish me to stay with you, my lady?
I mean, are you gonna hang out outside? Are you gonna
No, I
make
would.
me a fire? What are you gonna do?
I would, of course, serve you.
All right. Serving sounds cool.
So we're gonna lines and veil this super awkward conversation.
Oh, you meant
It doesn't happen immediately, but eventually Vasila does catch on what is being offered, and I'm going to speak for you, Dave. Just blushes. like she's like, yeah, I would love some wine and some cheese, and you could serve me all kinds of different stuff, and he's trying to be tactful, and it explains that his brother is also a tall, virile man, and and it's finally figures it out.
Oh my goodness.
So let's go to evening. And all four of you, obviously, an incredible night's sleep. But Aldrich, you just happen to wake up. I would say it was probably roughly 4 a.m.
Okay.
And you can hear somebody outside your tent who is not quiet, but obviously trying to be very quiet.
Okay. I assume it's dark, so I can't see if they're like peeking or anything.
It darkened your tent, but you have candles there, and they have oil lanterns, so you could definitely turn on light up the inside of your tent if you wanted to, or grab a lantern and go outside if you wanted. And just to be clear, it's not like, it doesn't sound the hair on the back of your neck doesn't stand up, right? So you don't, for whatever reason, you don't feel threatened by this, but you can just hear like someone stepping on a stick, and like they stop immediately. And
okay. Can I so I think I'd like to basically light a lantern, and if they've got like one that's hooded, keep it closed.
Yep.
And then kind of, I guess this would probably be a stealth check, try to like slowly get to the door and then like flash and see what's going on.
Not at this point, no. I think that it's somewhat reasonable. So you kind of peek out the tent and trying not to, hello, I'm Aldrich. You kind of open up the tent, the flap on the tent a little bit. You see that the person guarding you is dead asleep, kind of on a bedroll in front of you. But that's not unexpected, right? They had bedrolls, and they were to sleep at the foot of your tent.
Yeah.
But you do see this person. And right now they're maybe 15 yards away, 10, 15 yards away. And they're doing kind of the Scooby-Doo sneaking, like, do, 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 right?
Somebody behind him with a violin.
Takes a second. You can tell it's not an adult. But definitely not a child like Vivi. And I think it might take 15, 20 seconds to realize that this is obviously her brother. So it's obviously Oramor.
Oramor, okay.
And he's just kind of like trying to get past all the tents, including yours. So he's not coming to you. He's just kind of trying to very, very quietly and without being noticed. He is traveling from some sort of point A to point B, which is now passing in front of your tent.
Has he noticed me?
He has not.
Okay.
But I've got you just kind of like peeking out and not lighting the lantern, right? If you wanted to do more than that, then I think you're potentially would be noticed. We'd have to roll.
Yeah, I think I want to approach him as quietly as possible. I don't want to make a ton of noise because I don't want to sell him out, but I do want to try to approach and be like, "Yo."
Sure. So let's go ahead and do a stealth check. But I would like you to add a die because of the darkness and the fact that people are sleeping. And we only need one success.
I'm wondering if I shouldn't use adaptive to try to roll something else because my stealth is terrible.
Well, can you? You'd still have to use stealth. It's your underlying attribute that you would. That's all you can change to adaptive.
It swaps out the skills, is the way it's written.
Oh, it works on the skills?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just the underlying attribute that changes.
As far as I can double check that, but yeah, it should be I can click on it in here. Adaptive. Throw that up.
Any skill of your choice.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to use something other than stealth, help me out.
Can I use scouting to try to kind of scout him out?
If you want to take your time, if you want to take your time and find the right time and find the right path and kind of figure out exactly how you're going to get there quiet. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I don't have to get to him immediately. I just want to catch up with him eventually.
So let's do scouting with +1 die.
Cool.
And spend the willpower.
Yeah, spent the willpower. I'll just add a gear bonus, I guess. There we are. Hey, yes.
Wow. You should have didn't it didn't give you the option to add a skill bonus?
It did not.
That's weird.
But
I thought it did. All right, so yes, huge success, right? So 3 successes. You have no trouble, Aldrich, not only getting past the gentleman that was sleeping on the bedroll, but as Orimor continues on, he doesn't notice you. So it's going to be up to you to just follow him quietly without being noticed, or to be noticed. With that many successes, that decision and timing is yours. So you let me know what you want to do, and I can tell you what's going on.
I don't want to get too far without potential backup. So like before he gets too far out, but when I'm close enough where I can whisper to him and know he'll hear it, it's kind of a young man, Orimor, where are you going?
So like a cat, he jumps like 3 feet in the air. And he lands and he goes,
"Hey, calm down.
How long have you been following me?
Just since my tent. I just want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. But do not tell my mother that you saw me.
Okay. Just is there something you need help with?
No, and don't tell Vivi, because telling Vivi means that like everybody will know.
I mean, yeah, I know that.
But no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just need to get to my tent and without anybody noticing me. How did you hear me? I'm like a cat.
Listen, keep up the practice, but trust me, I understand what it's like to be heavy-footed. It takes practice to get around.
He's kind of bummed out that you heard him.
It's all right, kid. I won't tell anyone. Just head on back to your tent. I just want to make sure you're all right out here on your own at night.
But we won't speak of this.
Of course. I wouldn't dare.
So with your 3 successes, Mr. Fancy Pants, you have no trouble getting back to your tent. If you wish to follow him without him noticing, you can continue to do that. And if you do, you see he goes right back to his tent, which is right next to his mother's.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I would definitely follow him, make sure he heads back, and then be like, and then just go back to my tent.
Yeah, without question, the most eventful thing that happens the whole night. Vasilla's passed out. May have indulged a little bit. Ostrich and Sten. I don't know how. Would you sleep on all these pillows, or would you end up not getting comfortable until you got to the ground? How does Ostrich and Sten feel about this? Is more lavish than anything the 4 of you have seen.
I mean, Sten would probably take several minutes looking for the bed before realizing that there wasn't one. And then he'd probably wind up sleeping in his sleeping bag, like on some of the pillows,
Right.
just to get kind of the best of both worlds. It's better than rocky ground, but not too much.
Right. How about Ostrich?
I think that it's a little too posh for him, and I can imagine something very similar where it's like, no, there's just too many pillows and too much there, so he wants to be a bit closer to the ground.
All right, so let's have morning break. We're on day 15 now. This is your 15th day away from Oakenheart.
I think that means my ribs are healed.
Oh
my gosh.
Ew.
Oh,
Right.
I'm so excited. I can walk again.
Rolls.
And if it's okay with you, Brian, I'd like maybe one of the warriors noticed kind of your flinching and
especially when Vasilla was kicking me every time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was subtle.
And kind of did like this weird chiropractor shit on you. And
Nice.
Yeah, was just like, oh, that's yeah. Yeah, so let's have that be with like kind of the turning point for you.
Thank you. That's
What? Sorry, what day did we say it was?
This is the 15th. This is your 15th
Oh, wow.
day.
Then I totally missed it, but also my my mouth wound has healed.
Excellent. There was a balm that was given to you to kind of help with the scarring on that
Nice.
last night as well.
Awesome.
So it is morning. You have been told that, you're welcome to come back to Meridia's tent in the morning for breakfast if you'd like. They have black water there that they serve in the mornings, and of course, we'll have meats for a full breakfast. But she
Breakfast
also
sounds good.
knows and made it very clear to you that you've had a long journey and a great fight. So the camp is yours. You have no obligation. If you wish to sleep all day, you're welcome.
I think I would go to breakfast because
Definitely.
I don't mean to be a narc, but I do want to talk to her about her son.
Oh,
Okay. And get stitches.
Yes, for my face.
Yeah. All right. So I've got Aldrich and Sten getting up nice and early and heading to breakfast.
Mhm. Probably
Yeah,
not as
I'm-
early as he usually does. He might sleep in till like 7.
Nice. Nice. How about Vasila and Osric?
Vasila is like Scrooge McDucking on these pillows, like under them and like flipping over and putting them over her head and like groaning when she does wake up. Is like, I'm never gonna drink again because everyone always says that and they're always lying.
And this time you mean it.
This time, I'm gonna get the Studley McStutterson outside and see if he can get like some pills or something or like
Coffee,
Uh,
coffee equivalent.
So what's crazy, Vasila, is he has a small porcelain kind of like thermos there as you step out. And as soon as you step out, no words are spoken. He just kind of puts his hand towards you and says, "This will help." And you put it up to your nose and oh God. And it's just kind of a
yeah.
and
Little hair of the
Within-
dog.
within like 3 minutes, headache's gone, hydrated. Good morning.
I go back to bed. But I go back without like the twisty turny like sweats. Like it just
So you headed to breakfast as well then, Vasila?
no, I'm gonna sleep.
All right, you sleep in. How about Osric?
Osric is heading to breakfast.
So the three of you get to breakfast. It's a much smaller group. The Blackwater they talk about is coffee, which you've had before, right? And a lot of sweetmeats being served, and eggs. Haven't had eggs in a while.
Eggs.
Yeah.
About a couple days.
Everybody's not nearly as chatty and stuff. Vivi finally shows up, immediately kind of pushes Aldrich to the side a little bit so she can sit next to Sten, of course, and wants to know if your guys are going to go hunting today. And she does ask that Mom said that someone can make me a bow. Would you help me pick out the wood?
Of course.
I gave her a short bow. She took
Yeah,
that
that's a
in.
hand me down.
And she
It's
tries
not
to
the
be
right
she
height.
tries to be polite about it, Aldrich,
Mhm.
but she explains to you that it is not a Quard bow, and the only thing greater than a Quard bow is the bow that Sten carries, and she's very appreciative, gives you back the short bow, and thanks you profusely, but she says it's time for me to have a serious hunter's bow.
I think you've earned it.
Serious.
Hearing that, I think that triggers Aldrich's got like now an interest in Quard bow craftsmanship. He's just like,
Yeah, Sten is definitely going to be checking out those bows as well.
Conversations, anything that we want to happen during breakfast?
Not if Vasila's not here.
I-
Sten is going to
I-
have a chat with Vasila at some point.
I'd wait to see a moment when Vivanon is very actively chatting, like trying to talk to Sten, and I'd slip over and try to talk to Meridia.
Yeah, and if you want, you definitely have gotten such a welcoming vibe from her that if you wanted to pull her aside, she would be more than welcome to. And to the point where the guard kind of stands up. She goes, no. I and then so yeah. Grossly, you can go just to another part of the tent. It's that large.
Nice.
And she sits with you and she goes, is everything okay?
Yes, I wanted to mention something, and I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I was awoken last night. Your son Orimor was out and about on his own. And now I don't, again, a young man, I don't want to get him in trouble for exploring, but I want you to be aware that he's out and adventurous, and caution is perhaps...
Did he wake you?
A little bit, but I'm a light sleeper as it is.
He will be punished.
No,
You deserve great sleep.
No. I've slept better last night than many of the nights it's been on the road. This is not about... I would not wish to see the boy in trouble. In fact, I encourage his growth. I just want you to be aware of his exploration. I don't want him to get hurt.
Did he say where he was going?
He did not, and I did not press too hard. I made sure he got back safely to his own tent and led him on his way.
So she kind of orients herself to the door of her tent, which of course matches his door, right? And she goes, did he come from the north, the south, the east, the west? He came from the east.
It would have been the east, which was where he would have crossed past my door.
Thank you. Thank you. And you've confirmed some concerns. And he will not bother you. And you will be a great parent someday, because you know that this was the right thing to do.
Yes,
She's very appreciative. Very appreciative.
Checking my memory now that it's coming back. That's the other camp, isn't it?
Or the village.
Oh no.
Okay, or the village. Okay.
Romeo and Juliet with horses.
Yeah, that's what I just sprang to my head.
I mean, I was doing West Side Story, but same thing.
Yes, literally the same thing.
With more music.
And as addressed yesterday, I would speak with your arcane users after breakfast, of course.
So Nathan Hoyle in the chat goes, Aldrich's a cop.
No!
Yeah, 100% a narc.
Oh, I feel so bad now.
All right, so let's talk about the morning then. So Aldrich, you are immediately taken to a part of the camp that's slightly separated, and you're brought to a tent that full of men considerably older than you, and they sit and would love to talk about what you know, would love to share what they know. And we can montage that as much as possible. If there's highlights or things you want to do, we can cover that. But before we do that, I want to talk about what everybody else is going to do with this morning or this day. Sten?
Well, I mean, if Vivi is ready to get her own bow, I will happily, assist in that process. I want to get a look, if I can, if they'll allow it, at some of their, completed bows, and get an idea if it's like the same kind of thing I have, if they're doing some kind of, compound bow or different structure. Because I don't want to try and get her the wood that would be good for my kind of bow for a completely different design.
Yeah, and there's nothing that is advanced of like a compound bow. They're all, a bow is a bow. It's a stiffer wood than yours, and you wouldn't get a sense necessarily that it would be any more accurate. But one thing that you do notice is how ornate they are. So when you see the other bows in the bowery there, they're freaking gorgeous. And surprisingly functional. And there's two different sets of bows. You can see short bows, which are explained to be used on horses versus the long bows that are used on foot for hunting. And I think during that interaction that happens there, the one thing that I think stands out, Sten, is when Vivi takes you out to the woods to start looking for it, you do notice the skill that she has. and she knows far more about like the right type of wood, the right type of tree. She
Mhm.
definitely has a knack for that. So I'm
Okay.
imagining some scenes where you go, well, this looks no, 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 this is the wrong part of the forest, and she takes you,
Mhm.
and you're like, whatever, kid, and then she takes you to
Yeah.
this other part, and you're like, holy
Mhm.
shit, like,
Yeah, so Stan will probably kind of let her take the lead, and,
yeah.
if she asks his opinion, which it sounds like she probably will, he'll just sort of, be very thoughtful and look at it and then agree with whatever she says about it,
And she's a
because he is
smart
not a craftsman.
Yeah, she's a smart kid and quickly figures out she knows more about this than you do, but is also very patronizing about it. Like, she's like, "Oh no, I think that's a really good one, the one that she picked out." Like,
Right, exactly.
yeah, I'm with you, Sten, on that one. I think that's a
Uh-huh.
wonderful choice. You're so smart. So that I see that taking up the majority of the morning for both
Sure,
Sten and
makes
Aldrich.
sense.
How about Osric?
I think Ostrich might look to uh, see if he can do any training with any of the warriors in this camp, because they probably have different styles of fighting and things like that.
So when you get up, Osric, and you finish your breakfast, you step out of the tent and you can see like there is a very military style training grounds, and it is separated out. Like there's places where they're training to ride, places where they're training to shoot bows off of the horses, and places where swordsmanship and spears, like all of this stuff, and it's very disciplined, very militaristic. So yeah, if you want to explore any of that, you can. The only thing I will want to know is Vivi made everybody aware of Rustbite. I don't know whether you want to introduce Rustbite to anybody during this process, or if you just want to watch, or if you want to train with them. What are you thinking?
So I think that I'd like to train with them, but I don't think I'd like to draw Rustbite if possible.
Okay. So we got a great montage there. You're definitely learning more than you're teaching, but there's a couple neat little things that you're able to share that immediately gathers a crowd, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting the way he does this." And then you see them kind of like absorb that, and then they go and train and stuff. But you're also picking up like stances and formations and ways to really more footwork than anything, right? Stuff that somebody as untrained as you are, you're self-taught, right?
Right.
And this is a whole level, a layer of swordsmanship that you never really understood or led. So that we'll have you doing that for your morning, Osric. Vasily, are we sleeping till noon, or what are we doing?
No, I'm gonna get up eventually, a little bit later than breakfast, but up, and then I think Vasila's montage is like wandering through the village, like talking to people and like just chatting with like moms and like finding like if he finds like an elder, like starts talking to them about like the lore and things that they know. Like completely everyone else is doing like these important, like skillful things. And Vasila's like enjoying being in a new place and playing tourist with her bodyguard. She's just like I want to go see the horses. I want to go see.
So you'd be curious, and Sean, just real quick to bring up to you, they're in Amber's Peak. You'll have to watch the rest. That's what you get for being late, Sean. So when you said the village, are you talking about the tent, the
I'm going to be in
Quard
the
camp,
tents to start.
or the
I'm going to be in
village?
the Quard camp
Okay.
to start, like for the morning, and I am going to try to pluck at not so much the rivals because that's pretty.
We're
I don't
getting
think
there
I'm
at
going to
some
get
point.
unbiased
Just to say,
information. Yeah,
that's
but I care
happening.
about like
Oh yeah.
I care about like the village, and I care about like the other tales that they've been told, and I care about like the cool clothing. Like if I can pick up some like cool different clothes that are like beautiful and interesting and neat, because everything else is very functional but beautiful. Like I'm just kind of like enjoying being not in a new place, right? I'm whatever. I'm 18. I'm like, woohoo! I'm at
Yeah.
Everything's
college. Let's
new,
do
yeah.
things.
Oh, God.
So in the Quard camp, you are garnering a lot of attention. Very fascinated. Obviously, a halfling is something that is not seen ever, let alone every day. Um, Everybody you interact with is very kind and serving to you. Everybody thanks you for being part of the reason why Vivi made it home safe, and being great with the queen. Um, Trying to think of what else may come. You may venture kind of on the border with the village, and you can disagree with this, but I'm thinking maybe the coldness of the reception there versus what you're getting in the camp. Like I could imagine Vasily going, "Yeah, fuck this. I'm going to go back where everybody loves me."
Yeah.
Whereas
Right.
in the village, nobody
Um,
really had any
yeah.
interest in talking to you.
Yeah, 100%. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna just make up relatively small like white lies about halflings, just because it amuses me. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna like say things like
I
halflings
have
can
dark vision.
often walk on water for a few steps when they run fast enough, and often we can hear tones higher, much higher than humans. So when I sing, when I sang earlier, it sounded beautiful to you, but to a halfling's ears, it sounds even more beautiful because there's octaves of some sound that halflings can hear, and like just like completely innocuous, like not actually.
Yeah, and the different people that you kind of like low key kind of drop this stuff, the one that you mentioned about the water, the older woman that you have this conversation, she goes, "Well, that makes total sense. You are light like feathers," and I would imagine the speed would make that very possible. And then when you mentioned the hearing to one of the gentlemen, one of the warrior gentlemen, he goes, "Of course, you're closer to the earth. You would be closer to the falling sounds as it would come, and would obviously resonate in your ears." So they hook, line, and sinker. Everything that is mentioned to you during that morning. So let's talk mechanics. Obviously, this is a time to buy or to spend XP. I don't know if we have XP to spend, but if we want to, we can do that now.
So Sten has been thinking about picking up the Path of the Arrow, and I feel like if he spends some time with some of the archers here, talking about how their bows are different, how their styles are different, that sort of thing, that might be a good opportunity for him to pick that up.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happen. So let's do this. Let's go
Are you
ahead.
trying to get around making a roll for this, 10? I think you
Yes,
are.
God,
Yeah, no,
absolutely,
Good, right?
100%.
every
All right.
time.
So cost wise, Sten, what does it cost?
it's a
you
new
to-
talent, so it should
Yep.
just be 3 XP.
All right. I think we can do that. So give me just a second.
It looks like I can do it myself.
You might be able to, but I put it in there for you. So you've got rank
Okay.
1 of Path of the Arrow. Go ahead and spend
Cool.
the XP. So drop the XP for me.
Yep.
And then let's go ahead and throw that out to chat if you don't mind,
Sure.
so that we can talk about what this gives you.
Well, rank 1, it basically means I can spend a willpower point to ignore armor with a bow
nice.
shot, which
Awesome.
seems increasingly likely to be relevant as we go forward here.
Excellent.
Love that.
Excellent. All right. So anything else for you, Sten, as far as that spend?
No, I've got a couple more XP, but I think I'll hang on to those.
Okay. How about you, Aldrich?
So that really kind of depends on what these casters have. As far as schools of magic, are they sorcerers like me?
They are.
Okay.
And like have books and stuff, right? And,
Wow. Okay.
and
Awesome.
traditions, really way beyond anything that you ever encountered in Oakenheart.
Okay.
So talk to me what you're thinking.
Well, let's see. Hold on. Probably easier route would just be to go ahead, and if they have the knowledge and information on it, I would like to increase my rank in my Path of Signs.
Sure. What does that cost to go from rank 1 to rank 2?
That'll be 6 points.
All right, and you've got 15, so go ahead and go down to 9, and then you should be able to add it Path of Signs to go to rank 2. And what is that going to give you?
That's going to give me access to basically make my rank 2 spells easier.
Yeah, obscure magic, dispel magic, mind trick, illusion,
and
blind.
Even
nice.
And even if it's risky, I can also now attempt rank 3 magic.
Very, very nice. All right.
I'm sure that will be perfectly safe and fine.
As he says, rank 3, it'll be fine. Just a mishap.
Portals, friends. Portals.
All right, so let's talk then about and you edited it already, the path 2 on your sheet. Okay, great. Osric, did you want to spend?
I do. My hope is to pick up Path of the Shield, rank 1.
Really?
It is a bit more of a defensive focus.
Yeah. So let's take a look here. And so you want to get that at 1. How much is that going to cost you?
That should cost me 3.
All right, let's go ahead and spend that and give you rank 1 of Path of the Shield. And if you'll drop that to chat, let's talk about what that first rank will give you.
Let's see. Did that work? No. There it goes.
There you go.
And so rank 1 allows me to parry an attack for an ally by spending a willpower.
Oh, nice. Very, very nice. And what's key there, even though it's called Path of the Shield, is that it doesn't have to be with a shield, right? You can parry with a weapon as well. So that's very cool. You'll be able to do that
Do
with the
shields
sword.
give you bonuses to parry, I think?
You get a gear bonus
Gear bonus.
from the shield, yep. All right, excellent. And Vasilla, any spends for you?
I was thinking about either getting rank 1 to Path of the Hymn, which would allow me to help a broken comrade within short range to get up on their feet for every willpower you spend. It seems like this is the kind of camp that they would practice battle song or healing or that kind of thing. But I'm not loving that. So I was more interested in picking up another point in the lore.
Without question. Yep.
But I'm short 1 willpower because I need 9 because I'm going from 2 to 3.
You're gonna have
Which
to
is
wait
3
then.
times. Well, 3 times 5 is 15, so I can't do that. Never mind.
Right.
So, I'm working on that.
Okay, great.
That's the build up.
And you'll be able to do that without a roll. So you'll be able to get with people that would be able to help with that. So yeah, definitely. All right. So I've got us at midday. Let's have you reconvene, maybe back at one of your tents, one of the 4 tents. And food is going to be brought to you. So whose tent are we going to go to?
Mine. I have the best pillows.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fine.
So the 4 of you are together alone for the first time together since arriving here. Lunch is brought in, similar cuisine as you had dinner, spiced meats with that spongy bread.
So, how are you? Wine is delicious.
Uh-huh.
The wine is good. They have texts. They have texts of magic.
What's a text?
Like
Tomes,
book?
books.
They have books, real books.
Yes. It was
Like many of them, several.
numerous.
Multiple books.
It was
Are you ever gonna leave? Are you done? Is this your home? Have you found home, Aldrich?
no, I would like to go home to Oakenheart at some point, but
Well, I guess that's the question: is what are we going to do next from here? Are we going to hang around with this army? I mean, they seem real fond of us here. I imagine we could coast off that for a while, but
The Priest of Horn guy, not the most believable tiny person to ever walk the land.
No.
As a person that's relatively short, I don't trust him.
I would have. What was the man in the castle's name?
I don't know. They're all Z
Zertorm.
names. Apparently, they can only
Zertorm.
name each other with Z's.
Zertorm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's not
And
ominous at all.
He
Totally
sounds like an antihistamine.
Totally unrelated. I'm pretty sure I created a journal for you guys to use.
Oh, that's
Oh.
awesome.
So double check in the journals. I think I have one.
Has that been
Uh,
found lore?
Forbidden Stream.
yeah, there's one called Journal
Stream.
Forbidden Stream. So by all means, use it. A great feature of Foundry. Yeah.
Forbid.
Yep. Zertorm is the one in the castle who claimed-
Zertorm is the son of
The
Zygoth.
immortal one
Zygoth.
who,
Yep.
Zygoth's son.
Yep, and of raising the army to fight this demon leader called Zytera.
Saiter,
And
who almost certainly is like the lost brother of Zygothorn, because apparently they're Clan Z.
I would have liked to had an audience with this Zertorm fella.
Yeah,
I don't
we
know how
probably
we
can.
feel about the conquest, the questions we have about Zygofer, but if we had a more direct source, perhaps this would be a worthy holder of, and I bring out the scepter now that we're alone, of this burdensome thing.
Well,
Oh, you mean you don't trust Polacus? Polacus?
No, not directly.
Well-
Hey, I'm a priest of Horn, and I'm the only good priest of Horn. Come on.
well, depending on what the slimy one says, he may have something where the Zertorm wants to meet with us or talk to us or learn more about us. So,
And
it's
I mean,
possible.
these folks are great, but I mean, do we really believe the Galdanes are that terrible? I mean, they sound like orcs.
No, it's the same you get anytime. Well, actually, Sten would probably not have known that since he's been in one village his entire life.
But I'd like to imagine that in Oakenheart, we had like a rival village that like we hate for no reason. Like we use a curse for like the
Yeah,
rival village, but we have no
exactly.
idea what it means. Like
Birchdale,
we've never
yeah.
met another of these people.
Birchdale, yep.
Yeah.
They're like Birchdalians.
Ugh,
Birchdale.
the worst.
Fuck you, Birchdale.
It's the style at the time.
I'm not putting too much weight on that, but
Yeah.
no,
So I feel like we should explore the town.
mhm.
I'd like to talk to the townspeople, and maybe they have some more information on Zertorm
Mhm.
rather than getting it through Polacus, who seems
Of course, if
untrustworthy.
he's really the one that's been keeping them safe through the mist for 500 years, I imagine
Seems pretty
the
reliable.
opinions will mostly be positive.
I mean, we were kept safe from the mist for 500 years, and we didn't have a Zertorm.
So it'd be interesting. You know, he may have just taken credit for it, but who knows? Wouldn't hurt to ask. I definitely want to try and get a look at their maps, have a better idea where we might want to go from here.
That would be good, yes.
So the one thing that I'll throw out there, because I think Vasilla, during your journeys and conversations, this may have come up, because Horn is something that none of you are really very familiar with. So Horn is an Aslan god, and it's a fire based god, and it's believed that Horn is what brought to life all of Aslan, which is supposed to be a land born of fire. And Horn is essentially a god of fire, a fire based thing is what you were able to pick up, Vasilla. But the reason that you were not familiar with it or never heard of it, it is strictly not a Ravensland typical, raven and stick and all that stuff, right? And rust. This is something very different and unique for that. So that's a little bit of background on Horn, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
Nope.
I was just gonna say, Horn, you'll not believe the things they talk about Horn. Horn's this old god, brings fire out of his eyes and probably smoke from his nose, and he came with them from Aislan. And if I was a fire god, I'm definitely not like hiring the twerp. Like, there's all these giant, huge warrior people. Don't you think you'd pick one of them to be his priest? Like, oh, here's my power and wisdom. Tiny man who is whiny and useless.
And I just did a big lore drop from you. So that's Vasilla. Everything that's in chat is what you picked up and what you shared with everybody. This is kind of the Aslan understanding of Horn and legends of Horn, just so you have it. And I'll put it later. I'll put it into your journals so you guys have it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess kind of functionally, what do we want to do? Like, we want to go to the town? It sounds like next step.
We should probably.
Who I will tell you, we were not nearly as friendly. So I walked over there earlier, and not nearly as fawning and amazing people. I mean, I'm a likable young woman, but like these guys here, they really get me.
I mean,
And
unfortunately,
the
people of the town, we didn't have a child for them to rescue, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that we're heading into the village?
Yeah, but before we go, Sten is gonna kind of look over at Vasilla for a second and just say one thing before we go into town. I don't mind. I don't need to be a hero in any of your songs. I don't care about any of that nonsense. But if you start telling people slander about me being a coward and a fool, that liar is going to be in 6 pieces in the bottom of a river.
Oh, you're not a coward. I would never say that.
Except you did.
Well, I
Right
didn't
when you
say
were
you were a
kicking me in the
coward.
broken ribs.
I
No,
was
that's pretty much a
just
direct
pointing out.
quote from what you said in the
No,
song.
no, no, no. I was comparing Osric's bravery in the face of a giant snake demon when he ran forward past the blistering, rot-infested corpses to stop and leap in front of the demon from eating the small children of this village. And you were over there keeping an eye on things. That's not being a coward. That's just being in a different place, doing an important job. That's not standing in the direct line of threat and murdering a demon. I mean, it's not the. I'm not saying you're a coward. I'm just saying that Osric's bravery is bar none. It's the thing of legend and song.
Okay.
Spin Master Vasilla.
Sten is definitely not okay when he says okay, but that's
Aldrich has the nearest bottle and just kind of
So I
No.
do want to know, inner dialogue wise, what happened and how does Vasilla absorb that confrontation or that discussion?
I mean, I think he's always curmudgeon and rascally. So I just assume that it's just Sten being Sten, and take it as such and move on with my life.
Okay. Which would make sense.
I'm like, okay, version 2, tone that down a little, maybe, depending on the amount of wine imbibed.
Nice.
oh jeez.
I mean, like he's a incorrigible grandfather. You know, he's just like, ah, damn kids, get off my songs.
Maybe we go out and get some fresh air, friends. Come along.
yes, let's.
All right. So we're going to cut to the 4 of you leaving the welcoming, wonderful camp, coming to the village, which is to a large degree somewhat reminiscent of Oakenheart in its own way, far more familiar than these tents. The buildings have been kept together as well as they could. Some of them are newer and built. The farmland is and the farms themselves this is very familiar to Oakenheart. You like Oakenheart, it's on a river. So you can see the fishing boats and the docks to the north. There's an inn that you come across, and people are not wary of you, but not unfriendly either. They're just not fawning over you like
Right.
you had over at the Quard camp.
We didn't save their princess.
So if we can give me just a little sense of what we want to do and what we wish to explore.
So I think I want to ask someone like an innkeep would be probably a good person if we can ask them something about the castle, the idea of Zertorm, and I think rather than having them, rather than saying Zertorm to them, ask about the castle and see if we can find out more information that way.
I like it. So that's what we'll do. We're going to cut to break. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We get back from this break. We are going to enter a tavern inside of the Amber's Peak Village. So we'll be right back in 10 minutes. So Kodamadru asked during the break if is some coffee something I added. The answer is yes, because I can't imagine a world where coffee does not exist.
Just
So
don't wanna.
This
that
is a
is-
fantasy
isn't a
world.
horror
My
game.
fantasy includes coffee.
Yeah, that is canon as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this
Because-
isn't a horror game.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
is coffee.
Exactly. Let's there's it may be the wilds of a crazy fantasy Swedish nightmare, but good lord, it doesn't exist without coffee.
We're not complete savages.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's-
So let's come back from the commercial, from the break, and we've got the four of you in front of a tavern, and the tavern is marked the Spirit of Augerville, which you've picked up is what they call this village,
Oh, okay.
as Augerville.
I say we head on in.
Sure.
So you head in. It not as well kept as our dwarf's friend's beautiful tavern, more akin to the other tavern that was in the Hollows. It is populated by a few people. One thing that's very interesting, there's a few things interesting. One, you do see some Quards there. You can tell by their elaborate armor, leather armor that they wear, and the embroidery. And really, one of the things that stands out the most for the Quards is the ribbons that are in their braided hair. But there are also, not sitting near them, you see a table or two of other people who similar builds and skin tone to our friends, the Quards, but their hair isn't braided and brushed. Their leather armor is functional, but heavily used, and you can tell. They keep to themselves, whereas the Quards are a little bit more free with their discussions and just talking and kind of enjoying themselves here in this tavern, where the other group is very much quiet. And then mixed among them are people that look more like Osric and Sten, right? That are more of the light-skinned Alderlander type view. And behind the bar is a large man, and Sten, you or Osric, you immediately recognize that this is a man who has trained, a man who has fought. You can both, and Sten, you picked this up as well, I'm sure. Like you can tell just by looking at this man that he can take care of himself. And he is obviously tending the bar area. There's women serving, walking around and serving. We'll say there's like 10 or so tables, maybe.
Okay.
A hearth, tavern.
All right.
Everyone human, I assume.
Correct.
Big sign, no dwarfs.
Oh no, here we go again.
Well, I guess, is there a table free that we can
There is.
claim? Okay.
Or space at the bar potentially if we want to talk to the barman.
Okay, sure. Whatever you prefer.
There's
There's much of a talk
places in both. So
Cool. I think Aldrich would definitely head straight to the bar and just, how much for an ale?
gentleman comes over and just kind of, which doesn't happen to you very often, Aldrich, towers over you. Easily, 6'5", 6'6".
It's a big boy.
And you're strangers.
To some.
Do strangers pay extra here?
No trouble caused, no trouble paid for.
We're
What are you having?
Friends of the Quards. An ale, a basic ale, whatever you got.
So he goes back, puts the ales in front of whoever orders them, and says, "But you are not Quard.
No.
But you're friends of Quard.
Yes.
So let me be very clear. Here at the Spirits and all of Augerville, there's no trouble."
Of course.
So
Absolutely not.
imagine that Vasila is like, here's the bar, and like it's like,
Here comes trouble.
can you tell what's
Trouble.
what is up with that? Are they
It
like
comes in pints.
Are they angry at each other? What?
And,
If you're
and
gonna-
Sten
if you're-
kind of just does one of these sort of under eye look over at the table of the Galdanes just to make sure nobody's getting too much of this.
You're welcome to bring your children in here, but they are to be quiet unless spoken to.
Not a child.
She's not a
She's
child.
she's a halfling.
So he kind of looks and he goes, "Huh."
I put out my hand to shake his hand.
He
And
doesn't.
keeping them quiet is quite difficult.
He doesn't shake. He goes, Didn't think they were real. How old is she?
I'm 19 summers, thank you very much.
No better.
And for a halfling, is it a child? Turns to Sten.
No, she's not, though she sometimes acts like one.
I mean, next to this fossil, who isn't a child?
I heard they're cannibals.
No.
At least this one isn't.
I mean, why eat people? They seem so disgusting.
Interesting. So again, to be
Anyway.
clear, you're welcome here at Spirits. But there will be no conflicts. This is all neutral ground. And if anybody tells you otherwise, you tell them to come here to Augur. I am the 7th cousin, and I will resolve any confusion about what happens in Augurville.
Oh, so Augur, so you're Augur, you're the one the family the town's named after.
Not me, generations before me. I am the 7th cousin Augur. But yes, my family founded this village.
We've
Proud lineage.
no desire to cause any trouble here.
You don't seem nearly as ornate as your Quard friends.
We've been on the road for a couple days.
Yeah, we're not actually Quardians, Quards.
Bursting through the door is a little girl. These are the ones that kill demons. That's Vivi. And she runs to the bar. She goes, Augur. They killed a demon. They are heroes. They saved my life. Does your mother know you're here? No. Do you want your mother to know you're here? No. Get along. And she bolts back out. Gives Sten a little tug on his sleeve. Bolts back out.
Oh, she's so cute.
Just enough to get us in trouble.
Yeah.
I like you, Augur. You're a good man.
Demon killers?
Long story.
I
It's a
wrote
long
song.
day.
I wrote a
Hold
song
on.
about it.
I get out my.
No,
I start singing it
that
up.
was the other rule. He said no singing. I remember that clearly.
That's a
Priscilla,
good rule.
This is
Camelot,
this is
it's
a,
a silly place.
this is at least worth the second round. It's a good story.
So being Quad, I assume you can pay.
Oh yes, we
we're,
have,
we're not Quard, but we're friends.
So, and he kind of slides a bowl over. He goes, a coin apiece.
is he talking copper or?
Yeah.
I hold a copper and see if he nods.
Uh-huh.
Drop it.
Okay.
All right. So, who drank? How many coppers are we spending here?
I will.
Aldrich just has the one.
So, Aldrich's not buying.
I mean, how's everyone? How's
I'm
everyone
s-
doing on money? Because I'm willing to buy.
It's hard to say. I don't know how much money.
Actually,
I have,
yeah,
but I have-
no. Aldrich
It's
actually,
on
yeah.
your
Aldrich
gear
would just
page.
bring 4 and drop it.
Oh, okay. First round's
what
on
a
Aldrich.
fella.
Nice.
All right, I'll take.
I'm the
coin
one
back
who
then.
said get drinks, so Aldrich's willing to
Alright.
pay.
So he Augur seems fine. It definitely will engage. He will not start conversations and continue conversations. When you said, the stories are stories, he's like, okay, don't really want to talk more about it then. But obviously is not rude either. So if there's conversations that need to happen, let's have them.
So, I'm gonna snap him. So, if you're the founder of the village,
I'm not the
was there?
founder of the
Yeah,
village.
yes. If you're the family
I'm seventh
of the
cousin.
founder, if you're the seventh cousin of the founders of the village, did your seventh generation past find this village because of this beautiful castle?
So the Asleen were here first, and they worship this place. The castle was built long before the mist. The Asleen settled here long before the mist. The Galdanes, to be specific. And the first cousin, Augur, knew that they needed to eat and they needed to drink and they needed to be supplied and money was to be made, so he founded Augurville. And for generations, my family has been running this town and the farms. The Quads came, I don't know, some say a handful of years before the mist dropped. But their money's good.
So you aren't here for the worship of Zygofer?
Zertorm.
You talking about the Asling god mumbo jumbo?
Well, they said
Perhaps.
there's a god Horn, right? That as you say, but there's supposed to be like a hero, son of the legendary Zygofer.
You talking about the man in the castle?
Yeah,
Zertom.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he's a man. I don't know if he is a prophet. I don't know. He keeps to himself, and he's kept this place safe throughout that. Quite frankly, I don't believe he's some sort of immortal. I think that there's generations of his people that have lived in that castle, and all of them wear the mask, so you never know who is whom.
Interesting.
Mask. Yeah, masks are
The
dubious.
the priest seemed awfully sketchy about the whole situation.
The priest?
Seems sketchy,
Palakis,
full stop.
the Weasley one.
Yes, Palakis. He's very important.
Just
Yes.
ask him.
He seemed to have the same contempt from even their leadership. But
He claims to know much about what happens up there. I don't care. As long as there's peace, as long as the coin is dropped and the farms are kept safe, there's money to be made here.
so the word of this priest is questionable at best. So I want to ask someone with the interest of this whole area in mind. Would it cause trouble were, say, a group of 4 travelers to approach Amber's Peak and seek the Zertome themselves?
No trouble at all. No trouble. You'll die.
He
That is
really
trouble.
doesn't like visitors. then.
I'm sure you'll be summarily taken care of, but it won't cause me any trouble.
Okay. And this would be the wrath of the Quards of the Galdanes or some other force?
I don't know what he does up there. I don't know there could be 50 people in that castle. There could be just the one man. You'll hear every rumor. Every rumor. The only time we see him is during the festival and the ceremony, and where they pay tribute to the river for giving life. So I've seen him in my years since I was a boy. I've seen him or them or whatever. I've seen them, I don't know, 40 some odd times now. It's the only times I've seen him come out of the castle.
And no one else ever goes there.
Palakis is the only one that I've seen go and come back. There have been some that there was a time, I believe it was my grandfather, right? So that would have been our fifth cousin. Our fifth cousin told one time that there was a revolution that had grown, and it was been during the mist, and a group. It was combined, I believe, of both Quards and Galdanes, and they, I think, attempted to storm the castle and never returned.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, when this masked figure comes out of the castle to do the ritual, do you ever see Palacus at the same time as that figure?
Oh yes, Palacus will be right by his side.
Okay.
He's the one that leads the entire procedure. There's
Mm.
lanterns. There's they take a rock and they put the rock in the fire, and the rock heats up, and then they take the water from the river and they pour it on the rock, and somehow in some child's tale that makes the river happy and Horn is happy, and they come back here and they drink. That's all. That's the best. That's the only part of the festival I care about.
Fair enough.
And
Understood.
what part of year is the festival?
Would it shock you if it's in 2 days?
I'll buy it.
What a crazy random happenstance.
Convenient.
Oh.
The 17th day of.
It is always the 17th day.
Yes.
It's amazing that you made it here on time.
Oh boy.
In no way is it.
Did he mention that they always try to there need to be 4 sacrifices during this festival?
It's always made very clear in it's an ancient book called the Fiat of GM.
3 adults and 1 child, but a halfling will do in a
Yes,
pinch.
it's the Festival Ex Machina.
No, but that's the extent of the
Okay.
of the tale of the festival. It is in 2 days though, but I can't do that with a straight face.
Oh god, that's funny. Oh, it's so good.
Right, yeah, then. What if the false priestess, according to our friend Palacus, is it Skylia?
If you want, first of all, be very careful with your words. But if you want a full picture, you should talk to her. Her perspective is obviously very different. But if you want to get a clearer picture of this Horn deity, I'm sure she would talk. I don't know if I would make it clear that you are guests of the Quads when you have that conversation, or I would look for an introduction maybe at some point. But
And she doesn't go to see Zertorm.
not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Well, your ale is excellent, sir.
So the conversation continues. And at some point, a gentleman a little bit older than Sten sits next to you at a relatively empty bar. Keeps to himself. Augur obviously knows him. Puts it down and he says, I've heard word that you're looking for a map.
That's right.
Look, it's 10.
That's right.
Love to see a map.
And I also hear that you slay demons.
Put a singular on that. Singular demon.
Yes, Sten the Brave and Osric the Mighty, demon slayers.
For the past 8 months, a demon boar has terrorized the farms to the south. My brothers and I are willing to hand over the only map we have of Ravensland to anyone who can take care of this demon. No Asleen has any interest in helping us.
Are they protective of this boar? Will killing it
Nobody
give them
believes
a
us.
sense?
They think
And-
they think we set fire to our own farms.
So just to check,
And
this
Augur
demon-
overhears a little
Mhm.
bit of this just real quick over, and he goes, Donai, keep your voice lower. Of course. Yes, Augur.
and this boar, you've seen it,
I have.
and
As has my brother.
when you say it's a demon, are you saying that because it's a particularly large and aggressive boar, or has it been doing something unnatural?
Let me describe it to you, and then you
Craig,
tell me what it is. Yeah,
I'm going to step away with my lyre and tuned up, and then I'm going to play off away from our group and draw attention of the rest of the.
Nice.
Clever girl.
Yep.
Very good.
If I need
And-
to, I'll even use my willpower for Path of the Song.
No,
which
we're
will let
good.
me
We're good.
do
I'm
it.
totally good
Super
with that.
cool.
In fact, one thing that's interesting about that is initially Augur sees you grab your lyre and kind of like head off, and you can see Augur initially is kind of like, and then it goes, oh, I know what she's doing. Clever girl.
Trixie hair.
This is like
Trixie.
trouble.
So let me describe this to you, and you tell me what you will call it. A boar that goes up to your shoulders. Hair blacker than the pit of a well. On fire. Consumed with fire. Comes
You might have
from-
led with that.
Comes from the east, comes from the north, comes from the south. It kills my cattle, burns my fields.
Yeah,
So
that sounds demony.
It does this every night.
we call it the demon. No, thank God. Last time it came, 4 nights ago, took two of my brother's cattle and burned one of his storage barns.
Does it leave a trail? Is there like burned grass where it's
Always.
walked?
Always. We can always see where it came. We can always see where it goes. So I have a map. It's been a map that's been in my family for generations. I don't know how old it really is. I don't know how accurate it is. It does have Amber's Peak on it. So if you want this map, kill me a demon, demon killers.
Then sort of takes a look over at Osric, who is the secretary in charge of demon killing.
Well, it is tormenting the farms. Seems this would be good work for a good reward. Perhaps we should look into this.
I think we can certainly follow its trail a bit, or stake out the crops, as the case may be. I think we can do that.
Come to my farm tomorrow in the morning.
I assume he tells us which one it is.
Gives you directions.
Okay,
Cool.
fair enough.
Great.
This reputation is going to be a double-edged sword real quick.
No, I think respite is a double-edged sword.
Whoa!
I see what you did there.
Oh.
It's a little bit on the nose there, don't you think? Like we got the reference to start.
Go back to playing.
I'll be over here drinking my monster.
Earn your keep. Excuse me, that is a coffee stout.
Oh, sorry. Very nice. So-
I did have the thought. as you might recall, last time we played, there was a fire that stood up and walked at a dude
That's what I was
until it
thinking.
burned him into a crisp. It was not a
Probably
boar.
just coincidence.
Yeah, it's not all awkward and weird.
And these next 2 days are going to be wild, full of coincidences.
All fire god all the time.
These things happen.
We want to ask the dude that just came up. I know the barkeep mentioned his name, but do we want to ask him if he had like a kinsman that went away and tried to start his own farm, or maybe got banished or something? Like,
Donai is the guy's name.
Donai.
I think, yeah, Aldrich would ask that. That left a pretty strong impression on him as
Sure.
far as having someone who might have left and tried to start up their own.
So he doesn't know of anybody that, he knows that there's farms that these aren't the only farms, right? And so he's not familiar with a farm to the north. He knows of a lake to the north, but has never been that far. But has heard tale of the lake. But doesn't seem to have any familiarity with our excellent farmer of the lake.
He was trying.
So,
Did you say he was well done?
Too soon.
So the one thing that strikes me as interesting is that Horn, the local god, is a fire god. And there's been a lot of sort of fire-related activity around here.
Right.
Donai, are you, other than not getting help with your demon boar problem, are you on good terms with the Asleen? Do you have enemies among them?
No, my food is purchased through Augur here. And kind of Augur, he waits till Augur kind of walks away a little bit. He goes, I care for neither the same. Augur, he is, I think, puts up with the Quads. The Quads' money is just as good as any other money, and they've kept my family and the families before me and my lineage here. We have been successful, good farmers. We even learned some techniques. The Asleens, apparently their soil back over in that land to the west was not nearly as fertile as ours. So very interesting ways of getting the most yields from the crops. So in my time here and my family's time here, the Asleens have been a blessing. And we've had a generation of peace now.
Very good.
Wait, one generation of peace? Singular?
There was, he kind of looks to see if Augur is there and doesn't see him and says, Augur, the sixth cousin, was more permissive than his son. And I think that's why Augur, the seventh cousin, tends to run the village with a little bit more muscle. And it has kept the peace. His father was more permissive. His father let things happen, and that led to his father's death in the riots.
Oh my.
But we have rebuilt, as we always will.
Well,
The hate between them is deep.
I've gotten that impression.
It definitely seems that way. Yes.
Well, we'll come to your farm in the morning. See what can be seen.
What's next?
So have any of the tables left? Like, specifically have the cards left? I would like to have the opportunity to speak to the Galdanes, but unobserved.
that'll be tough. So there's been comings and goings, right? So you've had
Okay.
Quards leave, Quards arrive. You've had Galdanes come, go.
Cool. So I'm not gonna start crap by talking to the hated enemy.
I heard you have horns.
I hear you have a nice lady named Scalia.
Yeah, tell me about your false priestess.
I'm not gonna go with that. to her
Yeah.
face.
Yeah, don't open with that.
Face, right? Dude, I feel like I do
No,
want to somehow meet the Galdines, though. I'm trying to think. Augur suggested we would need an introduction to them. Did he happen to have a line on an introduction to them?
I mean, if you, I have assumed at this point you haven't asked him for one. But just to give you a little bit of information, he mentioned Skylia, the priestess of Horn, which is kind of the equivalent of our friend Palakis. Then he mentioned the patron, the leader of the Galdanes is a man named Gutharm. Gutharm. Gutharm.
There's someone in the journal adding that.
I'm sorry, not Gutharm. Skunsa. Sorry.
Okay. We have to just figure out who the other guy is.
Tell us.
Oh, it's just a name I just pulled out of my butt. There's no way that I misread my notes.
So I've got a plan. So this masked guy who's supposed to be the son of a former god or champion of the peoples, I think we should 100% Scooby-Doo him. I just like, aha, I knew it was you the whole time, janitor.
100%, huh?
Old man
Oh,
Potter?
now I
Old
get the
man
question
Potter?
about Palakis, whether Palakis was
Uh-huh,
next to him. Look
uh-huh.
at you kids.
Yes,
That was
Palakis
meddling,
would've gotten away with it,
meddling
too.
kids.
All right. So we need to do a thing. So what's our next goal? So Osric, other than heroing, so you're definitely going to take the bait on this like demon boar. This is good for our health, I'm sure.
It's fine. It's fine. It's
I don't have a
probably
way
not
to
even
get
a
to the
real demon.
Galdanes yet. I'll figure out a way to talk to the Galdanes. Don't you worry, Osric. You handle demon boars and demon killing, and I'll handle talking to the locals.
I'd just like to point out that the thing that more than anything else makes me worry is when you say "don't worry."
Ain't that the truth?
Goodness.
It's fine. I don't have a way yet, but I'll figure one out.
Okay.
And the only person who goes to the castle is Palakis.
As far as you've been told.
The only
should
person who
follow
goes to
Palakis.
castle and lives.
Oh, right.
Right.
Maybe we should have
Although-
an interview with Palakis.
He doesn't seem the type.
doesn't
that
seem like a
answers straightforward
forthcoming sort.
questions. Yeah.
I
Let's-
mean, there's ways to ask questions. Sten will just, continue not to bathe, and we'll just raise his arms next to him, and sure, Palakis will cooperate immediately.
Hmm.
Okay, so
I want to hear what's next.
Yeah.
We got a list, it
retreat-
sounds like.
are we retreating for the day? Are we trying to go to check out the castle? Do we want to hang out and
Are
drink
we
in the
in-
bar? Do we want to go talk to other villagers? What's our play?
Are we in like the second quarter at this point?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're definitely in the second quarter.
Got it.
But towards the tail end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Basically
mean-
deciding our third quarter action.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I agree that we should probably try and talk to, some of the Galdanes, but not as a group.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe the rest of us just go back to
So is your thinking
right
to
camp
catch them
and
at a
wander
table
around.
here, or is your thinking that we'd try to find like a villager who's friendlier towards the Galdanes and
Or
get them
just
to
slip over to their camp.
Yeah. So here's I don't have the answer yet. So here's the rough array of thoughts I've had about talking to the Galdanes, and we'll figure it out. Teamwork.
By the power
So
of friendship.
that's right. We're gonna go fight the big bad with our kung fu. So one, we solve this problem for the villagers. The villagers give us an introduction, right? So obviously, our barkeep friend has some pull, and making his farms, which he has protectorship over, but more importantly, business in interest in, should
That
be
might
very
help.
favorable to him, right? That aligns with what I perceive are his goals. Two, we can try to slip over and talk to individual, slip away from the Quard and get to the Galdanes at a more reasonable spot. So obviously not all four of us trudge off by ourselves, but maybe I slip away, whatever. We go and try to talk to them at some point and be pleasant. So probably not Sten. Three, we could maybe we can like challenge them to an archery contest or some reason to like meet with them at their village and like have some reason to like interact with them to start.
I mean,
Um,
I don't think we should do anything that's going to be like a big deal, a public deal, something like that. I
yeah,
feel
it's not my
like
favorite plan.
something
Yeah,
something quiet and subtle.
I mean that's our middle names.
agreed.
So I think a different tactic is to follow Palakis up to the castle. We got kind of two things. We want to talk to the Galdanes. We want to kind of investigate the mystery of the castle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like our two spots, and then Boar, right? But Boar's kind of on the
Right.
time frame. We know where that
Right.
is going. So Galdanes, I don't see a super good way to get away and talk to them without an introduction. And we don't know anything about them except for that they're also Aislan
Right.
folk. They were here first. They really don't like the Quard, right? So
Yeah.
that's like the extent of our knowledge of them.
Yeah.
They are less ostentatious.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you can like run into them while hunting, right? Do they have hunting parties? I don't know if like I don't see any way that like you like there'd be a reason for Osric to get involved unless you have something in your mind, Osric. I could just like go and try to share tales of like I'm a halfling, weird.
Yeah,
That's a new
I mean,
thing.
problem is if I go hunting, Vivi's gonna come along.
Yeah, your shadow goes.
And we
Yeah.
don't want her meeting with the.
I mean, she'll keep her mouth quiet about it, I'm sure.
No.
Let me think about it now.
Did you tell us about your interaction with the boy, Aldrich?
No, I never brought it up.
But would you? I think is what.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Kept it to himself.
I would
I
not have
only
brought it up
narked
to
his
anyone.
mom.
Only
I
narked
don't
his
tell
mom.
my friends.
Yep. I'm a responsible narc.
He's a cop.
I'm gonna lean into it.
That's the best. That was the best
Funny.
comment.
Ah,
Nathan is correct. You are, in fact, a cop.
I wasn't.
Were you not 16 trying to sneak out and talk to someone of interest?
Yes, I went out to sneak out to learn magic. I was worse. That's why I'm concerned about this child.
He's consorting with demons.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Or
I'm out of
Galdanes.
ideas, guys. I don't have anything else on me. So instead of trying to get to the Galdanes, where none of us have like great plans right now, why don't we go check out this castle? Because that is a thing that we can do right now without super suspicion.
It is much more likely to get us killed, though.
Well, if we don't,
Yeah.
if we just walk into the castle, I mean, you just told me how you were Sten the Brave, And B, I'm pretty sure they won't kill you by like existing near the castle.
There's a difference between Sten the Brave and Sten the Suicidal, but I'm happy to go take a look.
Right? I'm not saying that we should,
While we're here, take a
sally
look.
forth and run up the front stairs yelling. Like that's
You're just thinking
That's
we'll
big.
cross the river, is what you're thinking.
right. So if we look at the map, which is
Oh, I'll
Not
bring it up. Give me just a
currently
second.
available.
Yep. Hold on.
I think we're across the river already because that's where the village is, or am I misunderstanding how this lies? Because the village and farms, so there's like the north, there's
We're
the
by
north
those
tents, that's the
docks.
Yeah,
cards.
we're on the
Yeah, you're in the village near the docks.
We would have
So
to cross the big old bridge to get near the castle,
Got it.
and that
So
is
there's another
likely to be
village
obvious.
on the other side.
you
or
do see
announced.
buildings and tents over there, yes,
Mhm.
but not
Okay, so let's
nearly.
always go to the bridge.
They're not. It's not a village, right? So there may be half a dozen structures.
Gotcha.
Okay. Cool. So
And
can
that's
we
the point,
ask
huh?
if there's like if people cross the bridge? Like I'm sure the barkeep can tell us. If people cross the bridge, if that's the part that you get blown up on, or if you go to the castle, you get blown up, taken to
So
heaven in flames to meet with
yeah,
Horn.
I mean, Augur says, yeah, you can cross the bridge. I mean, you'll meet the guards at the other side, and you either have to get through the guards if you wanted to go further, or they will turn you away.
And the guards are Asleans.
The guards are Quard.
Okay.
Okay. So they seem to have a dominance over the whole operation.
Mhm.
Interesting.
I don't know if you've heard, but they're quite fine warriors, Audric.
It's true.
This seems to be the case.
So I'm imagining the camera kind of panning out a little bit as Danae has left. Augur is busy doing what he does. And the four of you are trying to hatch together what the hell is going to be next, whether it be marching to your death across the bridge or trying to
What are you trying to suggest, Craig?
start a West Side Story, battle of the Bloods and the Crips here in Augerville, or go to the South and
Sure.
to make sure that it wasn't sheer luck that you faced a demon and slaughtered it. I mean, obviously, if you killed one, you can kill a dozen, so that's going to be super easy. I think you have a lot of options, and we're watching you do that as we fade to credits. We'll be right back.
No.
So these type of episodes are tough. And I think that how I felt running it will be different than when I watch it. So because I've learned that too, right? I found that my perception of an episode is very different than the player's perceptions often and the audience's perception. So I'll start with you, Jim. What did you feel about episode 9?
It feels like it's an in-betweener. Does that make sense? Like
Yep.
we're we've closed off sort of a chapter and we're trying to figure out where our next chapter starts. We're definitely in this transition point.
What piques your interest as a player at this point?
The dynamic between the two Aislan people is something that seems really interesting. I definitely want us to get to the other camp without starting, the next civil war of this village would be better, I guess.
Yeah.
And obviously whatever's going on in this castle. I think Brian said it earlier. There are no good guys, and so it's this interesting thing where it's like, well, you got Zygerfer who's fighting against the other Z gentleman, and it's like, one of them has to be the better alternative, right? I mean, they're both bad, but
Yeah. Do we have a lesser evil somewhere?
we want
What
to
is
pick
it?
a
An
side, right?
election year?
Do
Jesus.
we have to pick a side? Like, we don't want to keep these relics, so we intend to give them to someone. Who's it going to be, and how do we find out, like, who's, what's going to happen in this ceremony, right? They're going to eat some other kid instead.
So it's interesting to me, Jim, that you said you want to offload these things. So that's different than wanting to collect them. Is that where you're leaning? Is like, I don't want this shit, which is a legitimate reaction to this, by the way.
So I think these big, gemmy relic things definitely seem like they're above our pay grade. And so
Which you only have one of at this point, right?
Right, that's right. We only have the one,
Yeah.
which is the scepter.
Yeah.
I feel like they're above our pay grade, and we don't want to be the ones collecting them.
That's fair.
But we also don't want to give them to
The wrong person.
people, the wrong group. And so determining who the right group is
Wrong people.
is not that we're the right people, but
We're
we have to be
less
the
wrong
ones
than some
Yeah.
other people.
We're the nearest equivalent we can think
That's right.
of.
We're better than the people we took it from, for sure.
So now a character question before we move on, Jim. What is, if there's any feelings or relationship between Osric and Rustbite? How does he feel about Rustbite, especially after what he did with Rustbite? I mean, it sounds like he wants that, in your words, the scepter is above his pay grade, but where's Rustbite fit in for Osric?
So I do think that to some degree, he feels that Rustbite will enable him to kill more demons, and I think that's a good thing. So I think that it definitely fulfills a bit of that adventurer's spirit that he's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that he's looking to get rid of that yet.
Gotcha. So Nate, let's talk meta here for a little bit. And this is not necessarily what Aldrich would know, but I'd like to know what does Nate think is going on?
Ooh, man, that's a big question because it's just it definitely feels like we're gonna find out some the Quard aren't as as nice as they are to us. We might have some questions about being on their side that make that a bit questionable.
What makes you say that?
It feels like from the bits we've gotten that they came in and started, basically oppressing the other people, not to a point of, like complete destruction, but like they just came in with stronger force and took over this whole Amber Peak operation, and like they're the ones writing the story right now, and
They're the carpetbaggers.
Yeah, the more we see under that cover, the more more concerning it is.
Interesting. Theories on the castle and the Battle of the Z's.
Ugh, that's a whole other bag, and that's what's running through Aldrich's mind a lot, because he knows he's not the person to wield the scepter. Like it's too much for him.
Yeah.
But he also very much does not want to put it in the wrong hands and lead to the downfall of man. Like it's a lot of pressure.
So Dave, you've been in the skin of Vasilla for 3 sessions now. Like to know what you're thinking. If you're starting to, has she become yours yet? Do you feel like? It's a very different character for you. I've not run a game where you've had a character anything close to Vasilla.
No. So not quite, I think. But getting there, closer,
Yeah.
warmer. I think she's still mostly the skin of like smart ass, like that fits in any world, right? She's like the smart ass caricature,
Right.
with Vasilla skin on top currently, which is still hella fun, but doesn't differentiate yet.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to take a little, because you inherited the character, which is tough, right? So it takes a little while for her to stop, for you to stop being what Maeve was doing, and for her to start being, yours, right? To get your fingerprints
Mhm.
on the character. So I'm smelling a little bit, which doesn't surprise me because you're a phenomenal player. And I'm excited to see where you take Vasilla, because I think it would not be opposed to where Maeve would take Vasilla, but I think it'll be different than where Maeve would take Vasilla. So I'm very interested to see. Plus, Vasilla is going to see different things with you than she saw with Maeve.
Right.
So, where's your head, Brian?
It's interesting because I think this is sort of the first time in this campaign where we've been sort of forced to decide, okay, what is our actual objective here?
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of, we showed up, we're going to explore around and try and find some more settlements. Okay, great. We found some settlements. Oh, there's treasure here. Let's go look at that. Okay, great. We found a fort. And now we're just at the point where now it's kind of the sandbox has opened up a little bit to us. And it's like, what are we actually
Yeah,
trying to
why?
do?
Why are we adventuring, right? It's a
Yeah.
really hard but fundamental question. Like, but
Yeah,
why?
exactly. So that's, going to be kind of an interesting thing. Because I feel like it's going to be, Sten is inherently kind of cautious, as many have noted, and in some cases sung about. But it's and by the way, just to be absolutely clear, Dave, that was not Brian being cranky at
No,
Dave.
no,
That
I
was,
I
okay, cool.
recognize.
Good,
I'm
good.
pushing Sten's buttons, and you're
Good. All right,
pushing
as long as
Sten.
we're on the same page there.
Yeah, I think we're all
So
amused by the interplay.
yeah, it's really going to be, how do we get the information we need to make an informed decision
Yeah.
without getting ourselves killed?
And to your point, Brian, and I guess I hadn't thought about it this way, and it's a little hard when you're the GM, right? Because I know the
Mhm.
whole world, right? And
Mhm.
but this is kind of definitely the character's first exposure to, like, this is a big world, and
Yeah, and we're
like
starting to
shit's going
see the
on.
big picture now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we don't know enough to make informed decisions.
yeah. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Well, I cannot wait. We're going to play again in 2 weeks. And I want to thank everybody again that was in the chat. I love seeing everybody make it here. I love it when we have people watching live and commenting live. So thanks to all of you that were in the chat, and especially the people that were gifting subs and all of that. That's just so awesome of you, and all the likes, follows, and all that. If you're watching this on video on demand, either on YouTube or on Twitch, standard stuff, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Very much appreciate it. Last quick plug for me, then we got some other plugs, is the podcast. So if you do not listen to Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars, that is a podcast that we do. Thanks, Sidewinder. Would love for you to listen to that. I spent a lot of time talking about a game called Malifaux. It's a miniature war game that all of us love. And then I also spent a lot of time interviewing creators. So, for example, Eric Grandstrom, who is the author behind this world, has been on my show, and we had an amazing interview. And then we also just this week released Avery Alder interview. So if you're familiar with The Quiet Year or Monster Hearts, she was an amazing guest. But there is a long, long library now of interviews that I would love for you to listen to. Sean wants to know who Ray is. So Sean Ray was one of the original founders. He and I together started Third Floor Wars 2 years ago now. And unfortunately, Ray had to step back from it. So it's been a bit of a one-man show for just over a year now. But Ray's a good friend of mine. I don't expect he'll come back. So it'll probably be just me for a while. But I don't get to like lean on a partner like you do. I don't have a Brett like you do, Sean. I don't have it nice and easy like you do. I have to be Sean and Brett. But yeah, that's who Ray is, Sean. Brian, you got some plugs?
Just one really, which is the podcast I run, which does not have anything to do with Malifaux or role-playing games, except peripherally. I am one of the hosts of the Ascent of Board Games, which is a podcast about board games. I'm just in the process of editing our 2021 year-end wrap-up episode. We come out, it's a monthly podcast. We come out the first of every month. And we would love to have more people listening to us.
It's a great podcast, especially I love the angle you guys take. You all dig deeper than a lot of podcasts that go into board games do. And the history aspect of it, and kind of the meta look at games I love. For all of our hardcore board gamers that are listening and watching right now, Brian, what is the game that they're not playing that they should be?
Ooh, God, that's thing.
What's lit
It's
your
like
fire
kind of
recently?
asking me what my favorite board game is because there are so many axes to measure that
But
on.
just recently, is there a game that kind of like, because you have a huge exposure, right? You've played a lot
Mhm,
of different games. Is
mhm.
there a game recently that made you went, oh, this is different, this is cool, more people should know about this game?
One that we were talking about just recently on that year-end wrap-up is a game came out earlier this year called The Initiative.
Ooh, I
It
don't
was
know this one.
designed by the guy behind Battlestar Galactica,
Ooh,
Corey
nice.
Kineska. He's got a lot of really great designs, and it's basically kind of we all talked about this game on the episode, and none of us really had high expectations for it. It's basically a little kind of choose your own adventure, a little escape room, little move around, investigate thing with kind of an overarching meta plot. But it's just extremely solidly put together.
Nice.
It's got a very interesting story going on. And I'm really looking forward to seeing future stuff they do. So that was my surprise of the year.
We need to do a crossover episode, Brian. I need to have you and the guys on the show. We need to
I'm
talk
in.
board games. Yep.
I'm in.
So let's talk about that offline. I would love to.
Sure, sure.
It's been a while since I've done a roundtable. Let's talk board games. I'd love for to
Absolutely.
have you guys on. So Sidewander in the chat wants to know, is Wingspan that good? And he has that in quotations.
A lot of people really like Wingspan. It doesn't do a lot for me. I mean, it's very pretty. It's a very well constructed game. It's to say something we say on the podcast a lot, it's a perfectly cromulent game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not something that particularly grabs any of us. But if you like games like that, it's a real good one.
Yep. Excellent. Nate, you got a plug.
Yep. Check out Steam Powered Scoundrels if you like Malifaux. We're here to make you laugh, so enjoy
And
that.
if you don't like Malifaux, check out Malifaux. It's real good.
Yeah, it's a very,
Yes.
very good
Check
game.
out Malifaux,
Very,
then
very
check
good
out
game.
Steam Powered Scoundrels.
So
Do it in that other order, otherwise you'll be very confused.
Dave, when are we playing Blades again? It's coming up, right?
22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, 22nd, where I get to be the GM.
Yeah,
which is
I'm
not
playing
good.
in Dave's game. This is our in-person. Jim is
Spicy.
playing in it. Just
so
real,
we made it in camping. Yeah.
an extension of camping for gamers. It's the same crew that went camping and played. But it's inspired me that we're going to bring back Blades. So the Umbro Means crew that did that, we're going to have that come back. I can't wait to do that because I miss it. I forgot how much I loved Blades in the Dark until I got to play it, and that's the first time I played it was with you, Dave. So in the time that we've played, biggest GM takeaway after running Blades is what?
So I think what you were talking about earlier right at the beginning, right, is that you're pacing your head what you felt like during the game and when you go back and watch what you'll feel like versus what you feel like as a player, right? And like the pacing, it felt like very out of control, not out of control, but just like am I too slow? Do we need to push up? I should have added more detail. Like it was just very it's like eating your own cooking, right? It's like you're very judgmental or deconstructive, whatever,
Yes.
of what you're doing, right? Oh, this is a little bit too much salt. And I'm like, this is delicious. Thank you so much. And you're like, no, I messed up this and this and this and this and this. Which part of it you gotta let go because it's a game and you want to have fun, right? So like it's
Yeah.
an interesting dichotomy.
What's interesting to me, Dave, is something I'm getting more comfortable with. And if you look at my earlier streams and now, I'm getting more comfortable shutting the fuck up. I'm getting more comfortable just like not saying anything. So instead of like, constantly going, or what, interjecting the GM voice, I'll just say something. Here's the thing. And then I just shut up. And I'm getting more and more comfortable with that. And you are already better at that than I am, Dave. So credit to you on that.
Thank you.
But it's hard.
Thank you.
It's hard when you're a GM because you don't, what you fear the most is that if any of your players go, dude, when is this going to fucking end? Like, please. That can be tough. So for those of you watching live, we're going to jump over to the Alexandrian. Jason Alexander, who's been on the show just recently, runs the Alexandrian. He runs a great live stream on Twitch. I'm going to send you guys over there. For those of you guys watching the recording, I really appreciate it. And we'll be ending that up here. It's getting ready to raid. What's that?
I said
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Yeah, it was fun. Take care, everybody. Oh, and listen to Gaming and BS, the best RPG podcast there is. If you're not already doing that, take care. All right. And then as soon as that raid finishes, I will end this. That was fun, guys.
Yeah,
I'm anxious to watch it again. I dropped a shit ton on you guys. So I'll be interested.
There was a lot there.
Interested to see you guys digest it. I think I do as well. It's great seeing everybody.